Welcome back to Mars Truth. It's your boy. If you've been living under a rock, you might not have heard about the Dezi Freeman incident. I'll run you through a few of the details so you can get your head wrapped around what's happening. So there was a guy in Port Punker who was wanted for certain charges. The cops tried to come in and he eventually killed 2 cops and has been on the run ever since. Now, there hasn't been many updates based on Dezi Freeman's whereabouts or what could have happened. There was some speculation going around that he was actually a survivalist. So once he shot these people and went into the bush, it was going to be very hard to find him. Month goes by. The AFP and the federal police have been trying to track him down. It got to about a month. They didn't find any traces of his whereabouts from the area that he escaped from. And there hasn't really been much of an update of anything. It's almost like they've just gone, all right, he's gone, we can't get him. We're just going to have to wait for someone to dob him in kind of thing. Because that's sort of how, a lot of these cases get solved is someone finds him and dobs him in. So this is the update that I've been, waiting for. There's new information out there now that has been released, I think it was last week or this week, that someone, a Melbourne businessman, has spotted him in South Africa. Now, I'm not sure whether this sovereign citizen stuff has a following in South Africa, but it could be true. This sovereign citizen stuff, I don't know. It sounds like a bit of a thing where they're trying to separate themselves from the law, basically meaning that, they're not a citizen of the state, meaning they don't need to abide by the laws that are given to them by the state. Now, whether you agree with that or disagree, that's up to you, comment down below if you believe that sovereign citizens is the way to go, or if they're onto anything. But basically what I've seen is there hasn't been any updates on his whereabouts or any updates on the investigation. I understand that federal police systems, they don't really release much information until they've already, caught them, so that they don't release any information on the hunt to allow the escapee to get away. But currently there hasn't been anything. And it's very sus. The way this whole thing has gone, it's very sus. Something like this should still be at the top of the news cycle. But it's sort of just been pushed down. And no one's really heard anything about it until the last couple of days. And I've got an article here that talks about it. I'm going to cover it and we'll just go through it and see what the people think that they have found. And if any of this means anything for anyone. So as I said before, it's said that a Melbourne businessman said he spotted Dezi Freeman on holidays. This is the first iteration of intelligence or information that we've heard since the case has been stopped. It's quite very interesting. Anyway, a Melbourne businessman says that he is almost certain he crossed paths with fugitive alleged cop killer Dezi Freeman in South Africa. The man who works in AFL circles and prefers to go only by Stuart claims he saw Freeman on September 1 while visiting a busy part of Cape Town. I'm 99% certain that it was Dezi, Stuart told the Herald Sun. According to correspondence he shared with News Corp, Summit Taskforce investigators asked him last week to identify the precise point where the encounter allegedly occurred. Stuart, who also serves as administrator for the local sporting club and has represented AFL Premiership players and Australian Test cricketers, says he wants clarity from authorities. But Victoria Police spokesman later dismissed the claim. Taskforce Summit investigates every piece of information provided to police. Every lead is pursued. The avenue of inquiry has been investigated, is no longer viable and has been discounted. But Stuart says that explanation doesn't satisfy him. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I'm not sure they've done their homework, he said on Thursday. Have they gone over there and checked the CCTV in Cape Town? I'm still convinced it was Dezi. I just want justice like everyone else does. The businessman had been holidaying in South Africa when he says he spotted the fugitive near Hotel Sky, where he was staying. Shortly after lunchtime on September 2nd, the 74-year-old was walking north towards the waterfront at the corner of Dock Road and S Arm Road when a man caught his attention. His eyes fixed on me. He was about 7 meters away, but his gaze felt almost magnetic, he said. After returning to Melbourne on September 4th, Stuart contacted Crime Stoppers. He claims police phoned him later that night. I make this statement in full knowledge that a baseless or reckless account could be a crime in itself. And the more photos and TV footage that I see provide me with greater certainty that I saw Dezi. So this guy, I don't know who this guy is, this dude, right? He claims to have seen him. Claims to have seen him in South Africa. Very strange place. I'm not sure whether this fugitive sovereign citizen has a bit of a following in South Africa, but it's a new lead. It's the newest lead and the newest update that we've had. No one's heard anything. No one's said anything. There's speculation that he died. His brother released statements saying that he died a couple of weeks after the chase, but has been no body recovered. So with all those resources, they still couldn't find a body. There's been a lot that's going on in Australia at the moment, and Dezi Freeman should still be like the number one he is the number one most wanted person, but for some reason the news doesn't cover it. And this kind of tip-off is going to be, considered as just a conspiracy, but you never know, man. He could have been on the point and could have been 100% correct and saw him, but, now that it's been released, it's too late. He'd be gone. He'd be gone again. Anyway, that's the Dezi update. Maybe he's in South Africa. Maybe he's still in Australia. Like and subscribe. Follow this channel. I'll keep doing Dezi updates. There hasn't been much, so there hasn't been much for me to bring out. But this is the newest update, and I'm actually quite interested to see if anything comes from this and whether anyone actually knows whether the sovereign citizen thing is actually a big thing in South Africa, which would then, legitimize this guy's point of view. Write down in the comments below where you think Dezi Freeman is, how you think we're going to find him, and whether you think he's guilty. Peace out. Till the next one.